Last time on Chronotopia, Devmo plummeted to his death. Trapped in purgatory, he meets a witch named Liz. She's going to help him regain his memories by telling him a fairy tale.
There was a magical princess who lived in a strange, far-off land. Her wealth came from a magical donkey she had inherited from her ancestors. The animal could make gold and jewels at will that she collected to erect roads and buildings which would serve the interests of her people. Collected. Under her reign, works of art of all sorts were developing, and her people lived without ever having to fear hunger, since she always had a solution. From the donkey. The attention she had for her people, as well as the vast power her wealth gave her, made the young princess hugely respected across the country, and everyone praised her ability to take gold from the backside of the donkey.
Does the donkey poop gold?
She's just pulling it out of her ass.
God seemed keen on satisfying her in return. The princess indeed fell deeply in love with a young, inexperienced, but honest noble who had eyes for no one but her. He was from a famous family of 12 sons, and since he was one of the last born, he lacked attention and so desired to settle himself far from them so he could write his own tale. She gave him love and respect, and he asked for nothing more. From their marriage, a daughter was born, and she was already on the path to being wise and as brave as her mother. Year after year, the king and queen ruled together as fairly as possible, while the magical donkey, from which came all wealth, was treated well, and the couple's life seemed perfectly desirable. A magical atmosphere hung over the realm, and there were rumors the queen had to be part fairy to meet success in everything she was doing. Thus, no other country looked more like a fairy tale than this one. As the couple were enjoying their life, full of ideas to make their country a better place, misfortune eventually struck. The queen, who everyone thought was invulnerable, fell critically ill. Even though the king called the best physicians in the world, nobody was able to find a cure to the sickness which was devouring the queen from the inside. Days passed. Citizens were getting more and more restless, and the family more depressed, but all to no avail. Realizing she was going to draw her last breath, the queen called her husband next to her deathbed. She was still young, and she would have gladly kept working on all major undertaken projects. But she was even more remorseful for leaving her husband and her daughter so soon. This is a tragic moment. Stop laughing.
Sorry, that's the way that it was phrased.
Phrasing.
And she loved them both and her undertaken project so tenderly. So many things to do, so many memories to have, so many beautiful moments to live, so many different types of toffee to taste. But alas, the pain was carving a deep chasm into her breast. As the king leaned over her, stretching a hand towards her, with the saddest look he ever had, she was struggling to tell him her last will. Her face, partially paralyzed and ridden with painful spasms, the queen exhaled excruciating moans.
My dear, this is the end for me.
Hush. Don't say anything. Don't wear yourself out. You're far too frail. I still believe. I have got to believe. We will find a cure, and you will be better soon. I promise.
It is hopeless. I know this.
No, I cannot believe it.
Before I depart, I would like you to do something for me.
Anything.
I love you. You know it, and
Well.
I love the young princess too.
Uh-huh.
I cannot stand imagining you crying over my death for too long. I want you to be happy above all.
What are you trying to say, my dear? Like, what's the appropriate amount of time after you're dead?
I know how you are. You will not be able to accept my death.
Well...
You've always searched for my eyes, for my attention. I already know all too well how sad you will be. But you will not be able to mourn my death until the end of time.
I would rather follow you in death than live without you, my lady. Or find somebody else.
How silly of you. The kingdom needs you. Our daughter needs you. Don't leave them behind, even for my sake.
But
Sooner or later, you will have to overcome my death. I want you to live, my beloved. I want you to live for me.
I will never stop thinking about you.
Then please, allow me to request something of you. I insist you remarry. Find someone who will make you happy again. Someone able to take my place by the people, by our daughter, the princess.
Sure. No, I cannot do this. Nobody will ever replace you in my heart.
I know it is painful. It is painful for me as well. Deep inside, I feel so angry imagining you in the arms of somebody else. But I am not selfish. I want you to be happy above anything else. If I am not here anymore, I want for, at least, a woman as wise as me to know how to heal your heart. This is my last wish.
How could I fulfill such a cruel request? Damn you for putting my needs above yours, you dying woman. You are the one my heart craves, the only one.
The queen laughed sadly. Fever was causing her excruciating pain. Soon, it was near impossible for her to talk. Her eyes were getting more and more obfuscated, to the point that she was unable to make out her husband's grieving face as he cried beside her. Stretching a hand towards him, toward the light, she tried rubbing his cheek one last time. Regretful, she could not help but silently shed tears. The aching was becoming so intense she was losing her touch with reality.
My fate is such a cruel one. I only want to live by your side, to bask in your innocent smile for all eternity. Yet, I have to go. That is God's will. I do not want to, of course I do not. It is too soon. There are still so many things I have to do here. It is too late, however. I cannot do anything but face it. The mere idea of being replaced is harrowing. To imagine someone else living in my quarters, ordering my retainers, settling in my home. To think about someone else in your arms, embracing you, kissing you, giving you new airs. To think about someone else getting the affection of my daughter, attending her wedding, raising and supporting her. It is making me die inside. Jealousy is eating what remains of me. I would rather still be here. I would rather have lived those beautiful days forever. But it is impossible. Therefore, even if it pains me, even if the thought is unbearable, you must find happiness. You must forget me. And it is so painful to me. You probably thought that I would face death with dignity, stoic and calm. That is how people see me. However, I am only human after all. I wish I had been more righteous, but through this pain that is tearing my body to dust, all that remains are regrets.
Thus they bid a tearful farewell to each other. Some time later, the queen died in unbearable suffering, and the queen was inconsolable. As sensitive and deeply in love as he was, he deemed that no girl from any good family could rival his late wife. He refused to remarry and swore to never change his mind. The whole kingdom was mourning the death of its queen. One of the greatest ceremonies ever made was organized in her honor. It went on for several days and nights, much like her final speech. Whether farmer or merchant, rich or poor, you went on forever. Each citizen took part in the funeral. They decorated the city with lanterns in several places, and some water lanterns were even put out on the Great Lake for her sake. At night, the candles could be seen all the way from the Lord's castle. The young princess, as sorrowful as her father, found comfort in admiring those lights. The flickering lights looked like little spots of hope to her. However, the country seemed to be consumed by a steadfast evil, a harbinger of storms. Thus, things would never be the same again. As the years passed by, the kingdom slowly declined. Since his wife's death, the king had lost any hint of motivation and could not bring himself to do anything. He cancelled all the current great works the country was working on. Great works. And thinking that they had lost all meaning without her, he locked himself up in stillness and in silence. The citizens felt neither heard nor supported, and discontent was growing among them. Yet the king did not care. It almost seemed like he was trying to be hated by his people. Only the magical donkey...
Sorry.
Only the magical donkey...
I bet you never thought you'd read that sentence.
Only the magical donkey was... Seriously, guys, come on.
Look, it's hard to embrace the magic ass keeping us all going, okay?
Now
That's
he's
what's keeping
pointed out
the
of his
entire
ass.
world going. Fortunately, though, the kingdom was not going bankrupt. However, the inevitable happened. The donkey's fame went beyond the kingdom's borders, and several neighboring and wealth-seeking lords tried to invade the lands, leaving them scarred by wars. The once lively castle was now a shadow of its former self. Artists and merchants were fleeing one after another, looking for more auspicious lands. The people had lost all faith in their lord. At first, the king's apathy and inexperience were convenient for the nobles. Ha ha ha! Since he was handling the country rather poorly and was showing no real signs of resistance, opportunistic counselors took advantage of this to seize control over the realm and get even richer behind his back. However, the decadent mood was not so convenient anymore. After some time, but wasn't it already too late, the counselors realized there was nothing to be expected from the current king. He'd become impassive. They had to do something fast, for the greater good. Factions appeared. Some thought the king could still take care of the realm until the princess's wedding at any rate, and then there would be a new person. Others hoped for the princess to maybe seize the throne earlier than expected, while still others advised the king to find a new wife who could help revive his will, or even that he could go back to his homeland and just leave the country with a new government. The most extremist nobles had no problem suggesting taking care of the king once and for all, but that last option would not satisfy anyone. They all lived in the wake of the previous queen, and they all wanted to honor her memory, but no one seemed to understand what it was she'd been trying to build.
Great works.
Because of those long struggles, the king was asked day after day to find a new wife. However, he was still obstinately refusing to do so. His most faithful counselors were growing desperate.
But your excellency, the whole kingdom's fate is at stake. You cannot remain impassive while some are scheming for your death or your replacement.
Exactly. Your lack of action is folly. You must choose someone to live by your side and put an end to those complaints weighing on your shoulders.
Gentlemen, have you seen this beard? I do not care. Let them kill me if this is what they want. To follow my queen is my only wish.
You cannot say that, your excellency. The queen has always thought of the kingdom's best interests. If you're to give up the realm, you betray her memory.
So be it.
If you do not wish to manage the kingdom, then why do you keep the masquerade going? You should have married the princess off much earlier. Think of your daughter. It's time for her to see something else.
My daughter, the princess, may hate me for all I care. Ugh. This guy's rough. My whole kingdom, too. Nobody will ever be as great as my departed wife.
He's inconsolable. Cannot be consoled
But
by
my
his
lord!
counselors.
Enough! I do not want to see you anymore for today. Be gone, leave me alone.
Just gonna
Horrified.
go yes.
The counselors could feel the kingdom's ruin looming. While some were already planning a coup d'etat and struggling with one another to seize some arbitrary throne, the loyalists thought they had to find some way to pierce through the king's walls. To get a better understanding of the king's psyche, they called an old druid.
Go and try to convince the king to find a new wife. We are ready to do anything to make him change his mind, regardless of whom would be the wife he choose.
Do not worry, sirs, and sit by.
Oh, fuck.
The druid, dishonest but quite crafty and handsome, was fearless when it came to influencing the human soul.
I'm turning all the old people to hot dogs, and you're next!
the flying hell is going on?
Well, that sounds like a great plan. The world needs hot dogs. Oh, son, stop him! Why are you so